I have had clientele from pre-teens to 85-year-old ladies. I have had clientele who are Bollywood actors to chief secretaries of states, judges, IAS officers. It's not limited in any way or any issue. In terms of issues, I have had people who come to me for physical issues, headaches, migraines, cancers, chronic issues like digestive issues.
Hey, you are listening to Dream 100 Business Show podcast with Savita Husamane. In today's episode, we talk to Amit Gaur, who is the co-founder of Healing Pvt Limited. Amit is a person who skillfully brings out the science and the spiritual side of healing so beautifully. He gives insights about how to address symptoms and root cause so that one can become healthy and whole. When I first heard the word healthy and whole, it took me some time to realize that absence of illness is what we call healthy, and health is derived from the word healing. When we say whole, it means addressing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well being in an integrated manner. Little did I realize that the time one starts taking care of oneself in terms of thoughts, emotions, and energy levels, the journey of working on oneself has begun. The more I focused on myself, I felt the need to know more. I turned to doctors, mentors, teachers, spiritual gurus, and wise people for seeking guidelines. Listening to experiences of people who are at a higher plane of energy opens the mind in so many perspectives and dimensions. Amit is one such person who uses healing and therapy as a medium to heal the body, mind, and spirit. How does he do it? Let's hear it out from him right here, right now, in this episode of Dream 100 Business Show. Welcome to Dream 100 Business Show. It's truly an honor and pleasure to have you here on our show. First time we are talking to a healer, so it is very exciting for us to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
In the process of therapy, a person can address the root cause. Whereas in the process of healing, it is just the symptom or the manifestation which gets addressed. Am I right?
Yes. When we talk about healing from my perspective, which is basically energy work, which is basically no communication. Now, there are people who will say that even therapy work comes under healing. People who will say that inner child healing is also healing. NLP is also healing. Then family constellations is also healing. They are all healing modalities. So any healing which actually triggers you to go within and search for the cause and heal that will create a change. In what I call therapy work, or rather telephonic sessions, all of these different kinds of things can happen. The inner child healing can happen, a family constellation kind of thing can happen, a NLP kind of thing can happen, going into the past and identifying what incident caused this. Any of those things can happen. So in my perspective, energy work is healing, and all of these other things come under my telephonic sessions or therapy work. So that's how I distinguish. But different people distinguish it in different ways. In my way of distinguishing, what you're saying is absolutely right. So the remote healing or the energy work is supportive, can do physical healing, can actually relieve issues, can create strength in the body and mind, but it will not tackle the root cause. You balance your chakras, you balance your meridians, they will give you a sense of well-being. You will be a much more balanced person than what you were before. There is no doubt about that. We do all of it in the remote healing. We do the balancing of the chakras, balancing of the meridians. But that well-being is at a physical, mental level. There is still something underneath that which is routinely going to come up and keep poking you. That is the cause. That needs to be seen. And then, of course, in the work that my teacher has taught me, true healing is when you learn yourself to connect with spirit, be with spirit for a few moments of the day, not feel this sense of separation. So that's where I am moving towards in my own healing. That's where all of my clients who are regularly working with me are moving towards, because that is my direction. So automatically I slowly start taking them in that direction. That's what my teacher teaches me. Every session ends with a transmission that he does of that space. And in that transmission, I can actually melt and I can forget about me being a body. That's the final objective of healing, which we called spiritual healing, which is the space of oneness with spirit.
How do you go about the process of amplifying your journey? Because when you are interacting with so many people in the same way, you will also be attracting a lot of other energies which might hamper your flow or your connection. So, or how do you dedicate that kind of space to you?
There are two answers to this question. One answer is that right in the beginning, when a person starts on this path of healing, there is a process that is taught to us, which is called the energy clearing process. So after every client, we have to do that. Every time we notice that we are not in the home space, the home space is the space where I feel as me. Every time we notice that we are not in the home space, we have to again go and check and clear the energy. So that's how we start off. There comes a point where you notice that you're not in the home space, and immediately there is a connection and there is a message that comes to you that this thing that you're feeling is of this person. And as soon as you think about this person, you send a sort of healing transmission to that person. And in that healing transmission, you and that person both are benefited, and that thing stops affecting. So that's what happens at the second time. So for me, it is a mix of both. There are times when the second thing doesn't work and I go back and I do my energy clearance. Dedication to do that is what most healers, including me, find wavering at times, because we are also working with people. We are also, like everybody else, busy in things, and sometimes we forget. And when we forget, yeah, there is a headache that happens, or there is a leg ache that happens, or there is a backache that happens, and that reminds us that there is something off here. Ideally, if you talk about my teacher, it would not manifest in the body for him. He would know the moment he is moved from his home space, he would know. He does not need it to manifest to his body. For me, it is still either I'm doing it every day, 4 times a day, I'm doing my energy work, energy clearing, keeping myself pristine. Or if I'm not, there is a reminder that comes from the divine that you need to do this. There is something going on. That's how I see it.
This is amazing. So in general, if people have to feel that we have to take care of ourselves, what do you think are the things that they need to do?
The first thing is the same, whether it's me or it's you or it's anyone else. You have to remain in your energy. A small process of closing your eyes, connecting with whoever you consider to be a protective spirit, a protective angel, a protective saint, even if it's a person who's alive, anyone who you feel is your cherished person, who you feel safe in the presence of. You invite that person and you cover yourself with that energy. Some people use covering themselves with white light. Some people use covering themselves with rainbow light. It's the signal that you're sending to the universe that right now I am clearing everything from my system, and I choose my system to be clean. So a minimum 2 to 3 times a day, morning, once in the afternoon, and once at night, absolutely essential, because we interact with too many people and we pick up anger, we pick up sadness. We don't realize why we are angry. Many a time we snap at a person and then we think this wasn't a big thing. Why did I snap? Because it wasn't your energy. You interacted with someone who was angry, you picked it up and you expressed that anger. So most critical thing, if I would say, which my teacher keeps telling me, it's energy. You have to keep your energy clean. A lot of the things that you're experiencing as dis-ease is because you are not keeping your energy. So if you look up on the net, you'll find many different processes, small meditations, YouTube videos of energy clearing. Choose one which works for you. It is the intent and the dedication to do it. It signals to the universe that I'm doing it right now. That's what will help you. So do that 3 times a day. It's going to be a big blessing for everyone. If you find inspiration to work on yourself, there are lots of processes which you can actually start doing by yourself. There is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Lots of resources online. You can actually start working on yourself using that. There is the work of Byron Katie, a little more advanced process, but for people who are thought based, that's a process that they can actually pick up by learning it from her website, from the resources online. If you are guided to start doing energy work, you can do it with core healing, you can do it with a Reiki master, a pranic healing master. Energy work is a supplement and it is a big support. That's what I can say. If there were more people who were getting it, there would be less pain in the world. There would be less sickness in the world because it's ideally a preventive. In China, earlier, doctors used to get paid to make sure that people don't fall sick. That's the right way of actually doing it. If the doctor's incentive is in a sick person, it's not really correct. Their approach is skewed then. So this is a preventive.
What are the type of clientele who can approach you to get healed?
I've had clientele from pre-teens to 85-year-old ladies. I have had clientele who are Bollywood actors to chief secretaries of states, judges, IAS officers. It's not limited in any way or any issue. In terms of issues, I've had people who come to me for physical issues, headaches, migraines, cancers, chronic issues like digestive issues. One of the really funny testimonials that I got is that one of my clients' parents was on the healing for a very long time and he was like pretty old. And a year and a half or back, he'd been to the doctor and stuff. And when he went to the doctor again, the client tells me that the doctor literally fell off his chair when he looked at the report. Doctor was like, your kidney should not be functioning. So once in a while you hear these kinds of things. Or a client goes to a doctor for a TMT test after 3 years and the doctor says that I've never seen such a perfect TMT report. Forget in youth, I could never imagine in anyone. Things happen. There's people who come for knee issues. There's people who come for basic stuff like skin issues, not being able to sleep. Different program that we've started recently because lots of people are coming with sleep issues. So we do a transmission from, I think, 9 o'clock at night for 4-5 hours just for sleep. So there is a separate thing that is there for sleep. There is again another transmission called the abundance transmission, which is for positivity, for confidence, for expressibility, for being able to say what you feel, for being assertive. So for all professionals, so the professionals come for that. There's people who come for emotional imbalances. They've faced a lot of trauma in their life and they are very emotional and there is a lot of tears and they are not able to control themselves. There's a lot of anger. There's people who come for that. So all of them start up with the body-mind balance healing. That's the start.
Since you were talking about sleep, sleep apnea is one thing which is being diagnosed even in small kids also and in like elderly individuals also. So will this healing be applicable to sleep apnea patients as well?
So if they're already using the CPAP, BPAP machines, I haven't seen anyone who has been able to give up the machine. There are two reasons for that. Because once you have gotten on the machine, you have given into the fear now. If you take away the machine now, there is a fear of death that's going to come. So there are a few people on the sleep program who have sleep apnea, who are on the machine, but they also have chosen to remain on the program for over a year because their sleep quality has improved. It does help. It may not take away your dependence on the machine. If you've not got to the machine, if you're not dependent on that yet, it may prevent you from. That might happen. That is possible.
Great. One more thing is that people who lift a lot of heavy machines in factories, they also tend to undergo this back pain issues and things like that. So for them, would it help when it comes to commercial healing?
It has become an IT people's issue now. Almost everybody, every IT client that I have has back pain. It's not just the people who are on the shop floor. And believe it or not, there's this book by a doctor, an MD doctor. I forget his name. But if you search an MD doctor who's written a book on back pain, he was so disappointed with the conventional treatment of back pain. He said that I have not been able to cure even a single case till now. So he went on his own trip to figure out stuff. And he identified that almost all back pain is emotional stuff. And he started a completely different regimen of healing back pain. I wouldn't call it curing. And currently he's getting 80% results.
Oh, wow.
So there is a component of back pain which is posture. There is a component of back pain which is related to injuries and stuff. So yes, if there is injuries and stuff, it might take actual stuff, actual physical intervention. My own back pain, I changed mattresses, I changed everything. Finally, it was just the core healing and whatever work I did with my teacher. It's touch would not been there for, I think, 6 years now.
Wow.
And it was so bad that I would wake up at night and I would not be able to lie down on bed. It would be, I can't lie down. I have to move to the left or to the right and keep a pillow between my legs. Only then I can sleep. It was that bad. And it just, no medication, no visit to the doctor, and it's gone.
Awesome. Yeah, when it comes to property healing, I see, especially after COVID, a lot of people have had these issues of selling their properties and things like that. Now with Vastu coming in, there is a label also saying that this does not satisfy Vastu requirements, especially in South. I don't know much about in North, but in South, they have tags saying that, oh, this is facing this. So this will attract only negative energies.
So I do not completely deny that. The colony in which I am staying for the last 10 years, I've stayed in 2 houses in this colony. The Vastu is not right. And when I look around a lot of houses, I see a lot of suffering. It's a matter of two things. It's a matter of, can you lift up the energy of the space? So like I said, there are products. So my house has the products that I make in every room. So I keep the energy of the house lifted up to balance those issues. If you're not doing anything to balance it, it's pure science. Sun rises in a particular direction. If you cover that up, the energy is not going to come inside the house. There isn't much weirdness to it. There are certain things in Vastu which maybe could not directly be explained through science, but the basic sciences, I do understand that there is some truth to it. So increasing or enhancing the energy of the space, keeping the space clean, those things are essential. Will just an energy healing help it sell if the Vastu is totally screwed? Maybe, maybe not. So with the property thing, I actually take the photographs of the property. I sit down, meditate. I ask myself, do I do this or do I not? Only if I get an answer of yes, then I try. If I don't get the answer of yes, I don't try. Okay. So because there's lots of things. There's legal tangles that are there in properties. People don't tell you about that. There's lots of stuff that's there in properties. So you have to trust your intuition on that.
Oh, okay. What do you think are the issues with the teenagers which they would like to get addressed?
The primary things when it comes to teenagers is that they are shifting from a seeing of the same to a seeing of the different. So whether it is about friends who are from the same sex, when it comes to the teenage, they start shifting into from the same sex to friends of the different sex. So they've not had an experience of the different sex till now. And given the amount of information that is being bombarded on them from lots of media these days, there is a lot of confusion that happens. At this time, having someone stable who can support and guide and not let any information be believed as true is necessary. So it's difficult for most parents to be able to talk to their children about this. If parents cannot talk to their children, they need to talk to a counselor who matches their thought process. Every parent will have a different thought process. You need to talk to a counselor who matches your thought process, because otherwise you will be uncomfortable with that kind of a counselor. If you go to that kind of a counselor, you take your child to that kind of a counselor. Now that once you found that counselor, let the child talk to that person. The child needs a person to talk to through this age, maybe the whole teenage, all the way till 21. 14 to 21 is when sexuality is being experienced and being expressed and being felt as strongly as the most strongly it's experienced during that time, because the hormones are shifting. You are actually experiencing sexual things. You don't know what you're experiencing. You're not sure whether this is what you're experiencing, or it's something else. And a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misunderstandings can happen. So having someone who a child can talk to is very essential during this. If the parents can be open enough, best. If the parents are not open enough, if the parents are hesitant in talking, it's better to take the child to a counselor who the child can be free with, who the child can know is not going to circle back and talk to the parents. The child has to know that there is complete safety and complete confidentiality with this counselor. The parents have to know that this counselor is going to talk to the child in a sane manner. That understanding has to be there. If the counselor is in doubt by either the children or the parent, the activity is a waste. So usually what ends up happening is that the parent takes a back seat and chooses someone for the child to go to. And again, at a later stage, when the child expresses certain things because he has worked with a counselor for a certain amount of time, the child expresses some things and the parents are taken aback. So ideally, when I actually work with children, I only work with children whose at least one parent is working with me. If both the parents are not working with me, I will not work with the child. Because one parent has to be reaffirming and reasserting the same things that I am doing. If both parents are not doing that, it's going to be humongous confusion for the child. And it is a confusing period because a lot of cultural shifts, a lot of information that is unnecessary at this point is being pushed onto children. That you need to hear this, you need to understand this, you need to experience this. And there's a lot of peer pressure and there is a lot of things which people want you to believe. So it's a tough time for children, especially teenagers. And parents need to step up. Parents cannot take a hands-off approach on this, at least to the extent of finding the right kind of counselor who fits you and your child both. Trying 2, 3, 4 is fine. The parents can go to 2, 3, 4. After that, you choose the one that fits for your child and then go for it. Most child counselors don't work with parents, so it's not the same as me. So for me, it's essential that the parent works, but most child counselors don't work with parents. But they will talk to the parents, so you will know what kind of approach they have. So talk to them, find the approach. If the approach matches what you have, let the child talk to the person.
Yeah, this is a beautiful insight because I know about one child who changed 3 to 4 counselors, but still not happy, and the child is not comfortable. So at the end of the day, parents say that we have tried everything.
So the reason the child is usually not comfortable is exactly what I told you before. The therapists stop working on themselves. If the therapist has a shred of judgment on what the child is sharing with them, the child will not be comfortable. The therapist has to love the child fully for what the child is without judging the child at all. Then the child will be comfortable. Otherwise, the child cannot be comfortable. Children feel and understand way more than we do. What you are saying has no matter. What you are feeling and what you are being is what communicates to the children. So therapists can't trick children. They can't. So if the child is not comfortable, it's because there is usually some judgment that is there in the therapist because of which the child is feeling threatened.
Thank you so much for this insight because this is something which I see a lot of parents facing this. They are clueless. They say that they keep asking, so who's the best counselor? Who's the best counselor? Or who's the best therapist?
When there is a parent who's so keen on these kinds of things, when they come to me, I say, forget about the child, first work on yourself. You seem to be very, very keen on wanting to change the child. That is not right. Forget about the child, start working on you. When we went to our teacher for our questions on parenting, that's what he told us. He told children are simple. They will learn from who you are being. Work on yourself. They will get set by themselves. That's what me and my wife did. We both worked with our teacher, kept working. There are things which our daughter understands, things which our daughter doesn't understand. That's her life. It's necessary for the parents to understand that there is probably a little bit that they need to work on themselves too. It's not just about the child.
Awesome. Yeah, with this, we almost come to the end of this conversation. If you feel that I have missed out on any points, feel free to add, which will add value to somebody who is listening.
No, I think you've covered everything pretty beautifully here. I couldn't have thought of doing it myself. So it's been a pleasure talking. And I guess if there's anyone who's hearing who's even a little inclined towards trying stuff, they should go out and try. You never know which little change in your life, which little trial in your life is going to turn it around completely. So go out, try. It's just an experience. You should go out and that's what I'd say.
It's been very, very beautiful listening to this. Everywhere we keep listening to people falling sick and things like that. Very few people come in with this ray of hope saying that, hey, just try this. This is a painless way of getting things right.
That is true. It is a painless way.
Very, very glad that you chose
Thank you.
to even share your thoughts. Because beautiful things have to be shared in different dimensions, because we never know, somebody might have gone to that level thinking that there is no hope at all. So when they listen to something like this and they try out and make their lives much more better than what it was, then I think the purpose is solved.
True. Very true. It has really, really been a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I thank Amit from the bottom of my heart for being so generous in sharing his insights straight from the heart. Here are my top few takeaways. Healing is basically energy work. Therapy is search for the root cause and heal that cause. That will bring about a change. True healing is when you learn to connect with your spirit. Keep working on yourself for energy clearing and to be in the pure home space. Start with body-mind balancing. And amazingly, most of the back issues are emotional in nature. Well, I think it's high time each one of us start working on our own selves. Do care to share this episode with any of your friends whom you feel need to start working upon themselves and heal themselves. Share any one learning that you implemented after listening to this amazing conversation. And we are always waiting to hear from you. Thank you for being such a wonderful listener.